Well, I reject the premise that we flirt with authoritarianism.
Are you? Come on, man. Seriously, using every possible lever to stay in office after he lost the election, plainly. Just always being friends with Putin. He likes him. He likes Viktor Orban.
Hello, everybody, and you are back on Euroconservative Perspective today, and we are with Bill Maher on his Club Random podcast, and today's guest is Matt Gaetz. Well, he was a member of Congress, and then I think Trump nominated him to be the Secretary of, oh, God, I'm blanking now. Secretary, not of Defense, surely. Of State, oh, I'm an idiot. I'm not going to look it up now. And so he gave up his congressional seat, but I think he wasn't he wasn't confirmed. He's been hounded by all sorts of allegations about improprieties with underage girls and all sorts of stuff. But he hasn't been charged or convicted, as far as I know. In any case, in this conversation, as you hear, they're talking about various things, and as usual, Bill Maher, who claims to hate both the extreme left and the extreme right, still has a pretty bad case of Trump derangement syndrome. He's going on and on. He's still going on about the fact that Trump never actually conceded the election in 2020 and all that. So let's get into it and see where this goes.
Buddy, and it's not against you. I'm an honest broker more than anything else. Okay, so and that's why the left hates me too. The far left really hates me. And I welcome their hatred because I just will not carry the water of all their insanity or yours.
Well, and by the way, no one's asking
annexing Greenland
or buying it.
Buying it is different. See, again, let's just be honest. Come on, we're just guys talking here. Those are two different things. Just look me in the eye and tell me you understand that. There are two different things, buying something that they agree to sell to us or just taking from another country. That's what Hitler did, and that's Putin. We're not...
I'm sorry, I have to stop this already. I mean, does he really think... You know, Trump says all sorts of stuff, as everybody knows, and as he's been doing since 2015 or 2016. As he did throughout his first term of office, as he did while Biden was president, and as he's doing now. The only difference now, in the beginning of the second term, boy, it's a banger so far. He is actually taking action. But saying things, yes, he's floated this idea of acquiring Greenland in one way or another. I don't really think there's any chance of America just invading Greenland and stealing it off of Denmark, I guess. It's some sort of semi-autonomous territory of Denmark, if I understand correctly. Yeah, I don't think that's really on the cards. Maybe buy it, maybe who knows what. But of course, if you just the mention of it already gets the libs triggered off their rockers. Just go on Reddit if you want to see that. I don't recommend it. It's a toxic cesspool there. But even Bill Maher, who claims to be the voice of reason, even he is triggered by that.
I know you guys like to be like flirting with authoritarianism, but well, let me ask you that question. You're a married man now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and your wife is lovely.
Thank you.
You did well. And okay, so sometimes in a marriage, the couple, I've heard both sides. I've heard couples say, yeah, I'm a big flirt, but it's okay because he knows I'll never cross the line. But so that's just okay in the mouth. That's like they've decided that's okay to flirt, or the guy does it. Then I've heard some marriages where it's like, no, that is crossing the line. Okay, I bring this up because you guys are really flirting with authoritarianism. You know what I mean? He admires...
Like, we didn't try to throw our political prisoners in jail. We talked about it, but we didn't actually try.
Oh, you did try.
We never indicted Hillary. We never indicted our enemies.
Yeah, because they blocked it. But
Who blocked it?
The Justice Department. Well, there were actually some people there at the beginning who were a little more fair-minded. I mean, it's not going to be that way in the second term, although that's the job you were up for.
I was, and honestly, I was.
If you had been there in 2016, would you have indicted Hillary?
Only if that's what the facts and the law commanded. I wouldn't have done it as some get back politically, because look, that doesn't end. And what I understand is, if you do that to them and they do that to us, then you don't ever get out of the cycle. And as someone who has held some power, it's a pretty frightening concept that when you get out, the people who take power then can utilize the apparatus of the state to deprive you of your freedom.
But of course, you went right to whataboutism. You didn't really answer what
Well, I reject the premise that we flirt with authoritarianism.
Are you? Come on, man. Seriously? Using every possible lever to stay in office after he lost the election, plainly. Just always being friends with Putin. He likes him. He likes Viktor Orban. Always like...
Wow. Imagine liking Viktor Orban, the Prime Minister of Hungary, who is regularly derided by leftists in America and, of course, in Europe, virtually everybody in the European Union, where I live, as a far right-wing extremist, for the sole reason that he refuses to let his country be swamped by migrants and so-called refugees and so-called asylum seekers. He refuses categorically, even though under the rules of joining the European Union, you know, Hungary accepted these rules when it joined. They have to take in a certain number of immigrants, refugees, asylum seekers every year or every whatever. But they just refused. And they outright say, like all European leaders should say, in my opinion, that they want Hungary to remain Hungarian. Wow, what a concept. What a diabolical right-wing conspiracy. You know, like, yeah, of course they want Hungary to remain Hungarian. And to remain Hungarian, it has to remain European by definition. Just like I would like France to remain French. And to remain French, it has to remain European because the indigenous people of France are Europeans. Just as I would like England to remain English and Germany to remain German. It's really not that difficult. It's a very simple concept. But to the ruling elite at the European level, you know, who basically in the end have no loyalty to their own country, to their own individual countries, but rather to this supranational organization. You know, the thought of nationalism is anathema to them. Whereas to me, you know, to them, nationalism, the rising nationalism in Europe, in various European countries, is a big problem. Whereas to me, rising nationalism or powerful nationalism is the answer, and it's the answer to the problems created by our so-called elites. And I think the same applies to the United States, although it's a bit trickier there, but we can discuss that later.
Pining to be with Team Strongman and not really that, you know, into our allies. You don't think that's flirting with authoritarianism? And if you flirt with it, he also makes jokes about, you know, maybe after this term, if it's so good, we should have another one, which would be, again, an abrogation of the basic tenet of the country.
Oh my God. Sorry to interrupt again. So yeah, Trump says something like, yeah, why not have a third term? Okay. And the left, these idiots, they just lose their mind. Yeah, how is he going to have a third term? Well, to have a third term, he would have to, you know, rescind whatever constitutional amendment it was that limited the number of terms for presidents. I believe that happened. Wasn't the Republicans that basically introduced that because of Franklin Roosevelt? Because he had won 4 terms, so they were scared that he was just going to win terms forever or something, win elections forever. But whatever. I mean, what's something like that that's done can be undone, and if it's undone, it's not written in stone. But yeah, you can't just stay for a third term just like that, and yet people like Bill Maher, supposedly the voice of reason, harp on about it.
Constitution, 2 terms. You know, that's flirting. That's flirting. To even make a joke about it is flirting with authoritism. My question, like in a marriage, can you just flirt and not cross the line?
Of course.
Most don't, but okay. I'm telling you, most guys, if they flirt, what they're doing is they're seeing if the girl flirts back. If she doesn't, I was just flirting. If she does, yeah, I'll fuck her.
So you think flirtation only goes as far as your options at that moment?
Well put.
Yeah. Well,
for a man.
Well, yeah, it might be different for women, but I think that in Trump's case, he looks at 4 years of a pretty peaceful world. You have to concede that. And when I got elected, the places where I would come in some conflict with Trump would be where he would seek powers of war that I thought were reposed in the Congress. And now, and I had all these Democrats really eager to work with me. No war with Iran. We should stop Trump from having that power. But then, as soon as Biden is cheerleading this war in Ukraine, all the anti-war Democrats became pro-war. There are no anti-war Democrats left.
Yeah, that's something I've noticed too. So when I was young, as I've said in other videos, I'm 59 years old. I was born in 1965. So I remember the 70s. I was a kid in the 70s, into my teen years. And, you know, yeah, the Democrats, and of course my entire family is Democratic or progressive or leftist or liberal, however you want to put it, some shade of that. They were vehemently anti-war, you know, anti-Vietnam, of course, and then later anti, you know, Iraq and all this stuff. And I'm anti-war. Apparently, you know, I kind of thought that made me a liberal for the early part of my life, being anti-war. Although later, I kind of thought being liberal just meant being open-minded about things, open-minded to whatever idea. But certainly, I think being anti-war is just American. That was one of the whole points of the Founding Fathers, was to create a new country that did not get entangled or did not get caught up in European entanglements. Because Europe, like, there were constant wars in Europe for centuries. And so, yeah, now, fast forward to today, and the Democrats love the war in Ukraine. You know, they love the war in Gaza. They just love wars now. They're they're the party of war. It's amazing to see this in my lifetime.
That's an interesting point. It's off the point we're talking about a little bit. It's a good.
I mean, if you're
you
talking
haven't
about
lost all your skills as the congressman. Come on, man.
If you're talking about the use of force to achieve your political goals, I think it's somewhat on topic.
Yeah, it's not like the left doesn't do a version. I mean, they should not have been bitching about Trump is not a legitimate president. He's a that was wrong. I agree. It's very different than actually trying to stay in power. We just had January 6th. It went off smoothly, without a hitch. Places, everyone places. Okay, the rehearsal went great, and now we do it and we go home. But that's not what would have happened if you guys had lost, and you know that.
Bill, you understand
that is an asymmetry you have to address.
Okay, let me address it. You're right. This past week, we had a wonderful January 6th. The last time we had a Republican president elected and Democrats did not object to the electors, do you know when the last time that was?
See, this is the kind of bullshit.
No, look, it was 1988. It was 1988 the last time they didn't object to Republicans. They objected to George W. Bush winning Ohio.
Object is different than calling the Justice Department and pressuring them to do things that even his own Justice Department wouldn't do. It's different than calling the guy in.
All right, I think that's enough from this clip. Kind of interesting, but by the way, if you go onto Bill Maher, the subreddit for Bill Maher, oh God, all those Bill Maher fans are hating on Bill Maher for having Matt Gaetz as his guest. Because, you know, despite the fact that he has never been convicted of anything, just the fact that, you know, if you look up his name, you will see all sorts of allegations, kind of like with Andrew Tate. You will see all sorts of allegations, but no convictions. Nope. So they're turning on Bill Maher on the subreddit on his subreddit, really turning on him, like, you know, but that's typical of Reddit. Anyway, I do find Bill Maher interesting, you know, but he just has that chronic case of Trump derangement syndrome. He just cannot get past it, despite his sort of air of being open-minded. Anyway, let me know what you think of all this in the comments, and while you're at it, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.